Nobody's bigger than the Power T. Nobody is bigger than the Power T down in Tennessee. Josh Heupel was not having it. And welcome to Josh Blinder's Blitz with Blinder. We're going to break down the preview, the predictions for the 2025 Tennessee Volunteers. They have one of the more entertaining off seasons this year. Of course, all the Nico Iamaleava stuff. That's not to say that I enjoyed any of it. I really liked Nico as a player, but all of that understanding of him wanting to get paid more for the playoff and all of it understood exactly where Heupel came from, and the fan base of Tennessee absolutely had the back. Joey Aguilar steps in now as the quarterback for the Volunteers. They lost so much talent on both sides of the ball. The whole receiving core, except for Chris Brazzell, is gone. I mean, Brew McCoy, right, of course, graduated. You see the leaving of Dante Thornton, the tremendous athlete, 6'5", ran a 4.29 40-yard dash. Him and Calvin Johnson type territory. Only two guys that are 6'5" to do that. You lose scroll right to the transfer portal. So Tennessee has a lot to fill in, but what will their 2025 season be? Let's break it down. Let's go through it and see what the Vols can be. I've got them ranked as the number 25 team in the country next year. A bit down on what other people have, but overall, I still love Tennessee. Frankly, they've been my second favorite team in college football over the last couple of years because I played a bit of Pony League baseball with Brew McCoy. He was a lot better than I was. But Syracuse, week 1, they play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I've got to win 24-14. They come out with it. There's not Kyle McCord there to throw for 500 yards a game and beat a Miami team at the end of the season. Like, that is a different look for Syracuse next year. This one's obviously at a neutral site. Mercedes-Benz Stadium would be nice, obviously, to get the win at a different site that's not Neyland, where you can just show up, bring 102,000 screaming and Rocky Top in there and go crazy and get that dub. East Tennessee State, they have in week 2, have a 46-12 win. Where is the production going to come running the football? Because Dylan Sampson has probably been the best back in the SEC the last 2 years. Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, like, who's going to be the main guy that they have? Obviously, Joey Aguilar can move around a bit, but where will the ground game come from? Because that's what Josh Heupel wants to do, run the ball, and then that opens up his RPO system. You got the first read on the outside where you're spreading the defense, and they have to cover every single blade of grass, and then you're going tempo, catching them in spots where they don't want to be. You saw a little bit of even in that Ohio State game in the playoff last year where they had the Buckeyes on their toes there in the second quarter, but just got helped out a little bit by the halftime, caught their breath, were able to adjust, and they were just playing out of their darn freaking minds. Like, they were playing with their hair, their toes, everything was on fire, and they just came to play. But week 3, Georgia at home at Neyland. That place is going to be arguably the craziest environment of the whole season, especially if Tennessee is 2-0, which very likely they can be. People are going to think they're going to beat Syracuse and obviously East Tennessee State 23-19. I got them with what I believe will be an upset. You can imagine Georgia might be favored by 3.5, 4.5 for that game. People being up on, of course, Kirby Smart and in that Georgia squad that will have a bounce back year from last year. I think it's a little bit of continuing to fall a little bit. First of all, a down year, you win the SEC. Okay. A down year, you get to the quarterfinals still of the college football playoff. Like, okay, I understand it was a first-round bye, and you got beat by Notre Dame, who couldn't throw the football vertically down the field. But look, yes, they won the Southeast Conference. Georgia's down a little bit. Can you cover Zachariah Branch or Jermod McCoy one-on-one? I'm excited. I want to see. I want to find out. Dylan Bell, is he going to find matchups for someone else to cover? Don't know yet. Gonna have to find out. There's no James Pierce Jr., Omar Nomanlot, like, he's not there on that defensive line. Who will step up for the Volunteers on defense? Obviously, Dominic Bailey, an older player, Jackson Mole, some of these older guys on that D-line. You've got like 4 seniors up there, Joshua Josephs, Bryson Eason up there. Like, they have talent. They have veteran players that just haven't played like an insane amount because there's been a little bit of a cog in the system to get on the field. 3-0 Tennessee before they play UAB, blow them out 52-14. Mississippi State, leaning on something. Is it going to be Aguilar's arm? Are they getting the ball out to Brazel, who I expect to be the leading wide receiver far and wide next year, beating Mississippi State 51-14, 5-0 coming off of the bye. That's what I got. Beating Georgia, beating Syracuse. Like, there's only one tough game to start the year, and it's Georgia. Even if you do lose to Georgia, 4-1 off the bye week before getting into a tougher stretch of the schedule, when Tennessee honestly has I would probably say a top 5 easy schedule. I know playing Georgia and Alabama, but like that second tier, it's not just laden with all of these really good second tier teams. Arkansas, though, the Razorbacks, and you understand with Taylor Reed what happened last year. There's just no offense. Couldn't score any points against Oklahoma in the first half. Couldn't do it against Arkansas. And Nico just at the end of the game tried to run for 25 yards instead of throwing the ball into the end zone. Don't know what was happening there, but 23-14 have Tennessee dropping this game. Then there's at Alabama, have them losing 26-10. Now, you might be like, Arkansas, why that? Sometimes it's based on a matchup you saw last year, and this is a less talented Tennessee team than they were a season ago. I know it was on the road. You can have this game at Neyland, but that nervous energy a lot of the time, just look at when the Buckeyes play Michigan and they've lost the last couple of years. It's close from the start. The nervous energy washes through the crowd. It would almost be better to have that game on the road. Then they play at Bryant-Denny Stadium at Alabama. I've got 26-10 in favor of the Crimson Tide, dropping them to 5-2 on the season. You got to limit Ryan Williams. Jermod McCoy, Ryan Williams might be the best cornerback wide receiver matchup all of next year. Who isn't ready for that thing? I guess Jermod McCoy, Jeremiah Smith looked to be that. It wasn't quite that. That was a bit one-sided. Jeremiah had a couple of big grabs, but like, who can cover Jeremiah Smith? We're being honest. Who in the world? Like, one-on-one in coverage. Even if he's 19, I don't care. It's just like, it's a little bit unfair, and he's going to get better. I don't understand it. I guess he is. Like, we'll see what happens. But Jermod McCoy, a lot of respect for what he does. It's just Alabama's got other weapons across that thing. Ty Simpson's going to be spreading the rock around. And then they return Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, Damani Jackson, LT Overton, maybe the best center in football in Parker Brailsford. Caden Proctor's got people thinking he's a top 4 pick as far as a left tackle goes. Like, Bama's returning a whole bunch of players. It's not just Jalen Milroe leaving and his 8 touchdowns the last 2 years against LSU. Like, there's a whole bunch of returning talent. Then at Kentucky, look, Kentucky had that big, crazy performance, against playing well against Georgia, beating Ole Miss. It was wild, but have a win against Kentucky, 27-20. Now, more points than you might like, but that Tennessee rhythm, like, understand it, that tempo can really catch up on teams. The next week, they would be 6-2 at home at Neyland, playing Oklahoma and John Mateer. I expect that they're going to have a tough time stopping John Mateer. 15 rushing touchdowns a year ago. Have this game 20-17, but Mateer having the time of possession, maintaining control of the football, not turning it over, not throwing at Jermod McCoy, because you might not have a receiver anywhere as near as talented as he is with being able to win in one-on-one matchups. So I have a loss, moving Tennessee to 6-3 on the season. You can see a little bit here off the bye, 5-0. They lose 3 out of the next 4 and drop to 6-3. That's kind of what I think of Tennessee, to be honest, is a 8-4 type team next year. Did, like I said, have them ranked number 25 in the country. But again, there are a number of tough matchups kind of written throughout this thing before that bye week. Now, the season's pretty much on the brink at this point. Later in the year, you do get like a decent schedule. It's better than Bama, Kentucky, Oklahoma. You play New Mexico State and then at Florida before you got Vanderbilt at the end. Remember last year they were down with 10-0, 14-0 to start that game. That was crazy. But New Mexico State, easy win, 29-7. Don't think much of that. At Florida, at the Swamp, who knows at this point if Florida is going to be in the thick of it for CFP race. Don't think that they are. There's just too many tough games for Florida. I have a lot of respect for Billy Napier. Lagway could be a top 10 pick when it's all said and done in the 2026 NFL draft. Have them winning that game at Florida, a lot of that having to do with this swamp not being the same type of environment that it will be earlier in the year against Texas, and then finishing off the year against Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. At that point, they're 8-3. Not to say that they are going to have a little bit of a sleeper, but do you think that they will? Now, Neyland have them losing 30-23 in that game, falling to 8-4. Would love to see a healthy season out of the quarterback spots. No drama there. Aguilar just had a great year. The defense played well. And Tennessee, be what they have, is have a lot of success, and just understand that the SEC is as deep as it ever has. There's legitimately 12 teams you could see being 8-4, 9-3 in this conference. I'm going through all of them, so please make sure to subscribe to see more of that content coming out in the future here, or as we dial it up scheduled. I'm recording this a couple months before you are seeing it, because I'm taking a trip to Tanzania, so that explains why any of this stuff I might not be updated on. If I mention players that are hurt and won't be participating in football this year, it is because I recorded this before any of that happened, and I was aware to make a change. So 8-4 on the year. Let me know in the comments what you think of Tennessee. Again, I love this team. I love what Josh Heupel stood on, which was business in protecting the team, the organization, the program, the logo, and that they are really just about building culture and not about the dollars. So thank you so much. Please subscribe for more in the future, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you tune in more in the future. Have a great one.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.